It's two dudes with attitudes, a wrestling podcast with your boy Ryan enjoys wrestling and MWO, and this is our AEW edition where we're going to talk all things 4-hour Summer Blockbuster Fest it's a real party, I don't know, with Dynamite and Collision all being on Wednesday, and then we're going to do our segment. Ryan, are you ready to talk this super long episode?
Yeah. Hopefully our episode won't be as long as this 4 hours was, but
they went over again. Can
we play it? You gotta play it better, Tony Khan. You have a 4-hour show and you have an overrun. Like, you're asking a lot of your audience. It's ridiculous. But we won't be having one. That's for sure.
No, sir. Roll it. Let's hit that.
Two dudes with attitudes. Let's go. It's the two dudes and the attitudes ruthless, aggressively speaking. So let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E. The two dudes with the attitudes that bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
And not to harp on Tony Khan, but honestly, his time management has been awful forever. Like, at least back in the days when WCW did overruns, they announced it, they planned it. We're going to go over and blah, blah. It was like a thing to, like, they started early, keeping people on their toes to take away the ratings from WWE. This is just like he has no time management. So he doesn't understand how to, like, how many times does WWE go over?
Never. Like, they always end early.
And that's how you end it early. And then you have all the replays and hoopla, and then if it has to end, it can end whenever, because it doesn't matter. It could just be like it's planned. But dude, you can't just have this one over 5 minutes or something again, or it's a 4-hour show, and it's like, and holy cow.
Not to keep beating a dead horse, but these 4-hour shows, now you have another themed episode next week of Grand Slam Mexico. It's just kind of like 3 weeks in a row of specialty shows right in the middle of the build for your biggest show of the year. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's weird timing right now.
They're doing another 3-hour?
No, they're not doing another 3-hour, but they're going to be in Mexico. So it's a big show.
Yeah.
It's Grand Slam. So they're going to pull out all the stops. They will, but it's just, can we build the All In instead of building for, Fighter Fest, and then building the Summer Blockbuster, and then building the Grand Slam Mexico, and now we're gonna, whatever comes next, Fight for the Fallen, and then we'll get to All In eventually. It's just, I don't know. It's like right in the middle of, it's like their WrestleMania season, and they're having all.
It is their WrestleMania season.
Yeah, and they're having all these minor shows right in front of it. It's just kind of, I don't know, taking the luster out of it.
Yeah, and we're not going to talk about really, and I meant 4 hours, not 3 hours, and we're not really going to talk about much of the Lucha Libres that were all over the place. But yeah, it doesn't really, unless you're one of these people who are Googling all the independent stuff, you don't really know who these people are. And I didn't even, whole Mystico being Sin Cara and getting made fun of. And it's like, dude, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why this is in the middle. Why are we not just built? You have good stories going on. These other stories. What are we?
There's part of me that thinks that they're trying to fight fire with fire. Like, the WWE is counter programming them with, Evolution the same night as All In, and they're doing, an NXT pay-per-view that same night. So this makes me think, okay, well, they just did AAA. They just had a Worlds Collide show with a bunch of Lucha Libres, and El Grande Americano was on it. So we're going to bring back the American gimmick of MJF, and he's going to fight Mystico. We're going to do a similar thing. I think they're trying to fight fire with fire.
Yeah, but it wasn't Friday Night SmackDown AAA. You know
what
I mean? It wasn't Monday night AAA Raw. You know what I mean? Like, they had their own, like, if you're just going to have a Mexico show with CMLLA separately, I get it, but you're taking up a whole Dynamite where you're trying your biggest show to promote
I agree.
Your biggest Mania. I don't think I get it. I get that the hardcore AEW fans don't care about stories. They don't give two shits. They just want to see people wrestle. They don't care what the end game is. So maybe they don't mind, but I mean, you still got to build. I like everything, and pro wrestling is storytelling. So I do want to see the build to be continued. So it is what it is.
No, absolutely.
Let's get into it. Let's get into Dynamite of this 4 hours. And 4 hours is too long. I don't care if it's a home run. WrestleMania is too long for me, and it's 4 hours. I can't. I don't got time for this nonsense. I don't even watch movies. We keep talking about it that are too long, man. I need it hour and a half, bro. Movies should never be over 2 hours. Hour and a half to 2 hours max. I love when I see a movie that's an hour and a half. I'm like stoked. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get out of this theater because now you got 40 minutes of commercials, and previews before the movie. So you're gonna be there for 2 hours, and But let's talk about too long. Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland opened the match night. It was a 30-minute match between the two, and nobody won. Ryan, I'll let you start off with what you think of this match. What you think about it opening the whole entire event? And what did you think and everything that happened after?
At first, I didn't like that it opened the show. But then as the show went on and we kind of got a little bit more of the plot of the main story that they're telling with Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay and Swerve, I understand now why it opened the show. So I didn't hate it after watching everything. But at first I was like, this should be the main event. This should be closing the show down. In the final show of Collision, the last 30 minutes of the show, not Paragon against the Don Callis family, round 18, which we've seen many a time. But the match itself was fine. Those 30-minute matches really don't do it for me. I know everyone on the internet absolutely loves them. They're talking about how this was the greatest match ever. Revisionist history once again, recency bias once again, but. This match was fun. It was a good way to open the show. It got the crowd hyped. The crowd stayed hyped throughout it. They got a holy shit chant before they even started wrestling. So that was, fun, I guess. I mean, that's cool. But yeah, it was, I don't like, the thing I didn't like was at the very end, when the draw was announced, the rah-rah speech that Swerve Strickland gave about, this is why we prove time and time again that we're the best wrestle, and we proved it right here once again, as we always do. This is AEW, and because we're the best, we should be able to finish our matches, and so let's go to sudden death. And I was fine, whatever. I would have been fine with a couple more minutes of the match, but I was glad that the Death Riders came out and changed they kind of changed the outcome a little bit, and we didn't get the ending, and then the Bucks came out. It was just, I thought it was a good way to open the show. Long story short, it was a good way to open the show. I like the pivot there at the end with the Death Riders, and I like the story that they're telling.
Yeah, it was a good match. It wasn't the greatest. We need to stop saying everything's the best. This wasn't the best Dynamite. It wasn't the best, but it was a good match. Way to open it up. The 30 minutes. Like 3 or 4 commercial breaks. I remember back in the days,
that's too much.
30-minute matches. They used to have half Ironman matches. That was like a thing because matches didn't go that long. I know that AEW is quotations if you're not watching real pro wrestling, but it's not. That's not how pro wrestling was. Pro wrestling wasn't 30 to hour-long matches all the time. And that doesn't make a match good. If this match would have been 20 minutes, I would have still loved it. It didn't need to be 30 minutes. But nonetheless, and time limit draws I hate. I'm not going to dog the match because that's my preference and my taste, and I shouldn't dog something for the way I feel. But you could have had the Death Riders interfere in this match. It would have left out the dumb hoopla speech. And even if you're going to do the hoopla speech, why didn't Swerve just get on the mic and say, no, we got shit to handle. We ain't ending like this. Hit that freaking bell back up. We're going to finish this damn shit. Instead, we have to constantly talk about AEW. If you're going to, I keep saying this over and over and over again. If you tell everyone you got a big junk, you got a small junk. If you tell everybody you're happy in your marriage, you're not happy in your marriage. If you tell everybody you go to the gym, guess what? You don't go to the gym. If you have to tell people something, it's not true. If you have to explain a joke, it's not funny. Stop telling everybody we're the best. If you want to do it in your podcast, if you want to be dumb Will Ospreay and talk about how great you are, so be it. That's your own time. This is a television show. You are in character. Why are you talking about AEW as a whole? This is where the best wrestle. Who cares? Show it. You just showed it. We had a 30-minute banger. You don't have to say anything. People saw you had a good match. Why do what you and Will Ospreay are trying to do has nothing to do with where the best wrestle at all? No. At all.
No.
Will Ospreay messed it up last week because he wanted to talk about where the best wrestler and literally said John Moxley is making AEW suck because he was lost in his own. Like, just stop, stay in character, talk about each other, stop talking about AEW. WCW was where the big boys played. They didn't talk about it. They didn't. Wrestlers didn't come out and go, what up? It's where the big boys play. Kevin Nash said it once when they took over as NWO to make fun of them. Nobody talked about it. You don't have to say we're the best wrestlers. It's your tagline. We get it. Move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
John Cena doesn't come out and constantly say like, hey, it's John Cena here now forever. Peace. Like we don't need to say the tagline, dude. So but nonetheless, I like the ending. I like that he took a bullet, wink, wink from the Young Bucks with the thumbtacks into the face. I like it. It got Swerve clicking, and all that other stuff. And we'll get into that more later. But I did like it, pushing the narrative and Ospreay showing that he is a trooper, that he is the Sami Zayn of the storyline.
Yeah, and I think that Will Ospreay, I know we give him a lot of grief for the way he sells in matches. I think he did a bang up job selling in this match. The ending there with Swerve talking, like normally Will Ospreay's like popping right back up and he's like, yeah, bruv, let's fight. But he was selling the beatdown that he got from Swerve, and then the way he sold the kick from the Young Bucks was really well done. So, usually he's not the best at that, and I thought he did a bang up job this week.
Well, imagine how great his matches would be if he did sell moves. Like I don't know when selling moves became not a thing. Like sell moves.
No, I agree. Yeah,
that's the point of storytelling in pro wrestling.
So I think he's getting better at that. I think I don't know if somebody backstage, like maybe Moxley or somebody, talked to him and was like, "Hey, less is more," and because he's not doing like he didn't do a lot of flippy stuff. I mean, he did there towards the end, but it wasn't like a gymnastics meet. It was more a wrestling match, and he was wrestling Swerve style as opposed to Swerve having to wrestle his style. So I think somebody backstage must have gotten in his ear because he's really toned down a lot of that flippy stuff lately. So
Swerve dictates his matches, so maybe he just followed suit.
The
third person in this party though had a moment. He was supposed to come out when he arrived to the arena. They had a little like weird segment where he walked by, and then all of a sudden like the Death Riders popped out like Bugs Bunny, like around the corner, boo boo boo, and then he was like did like an army no speak point, like follow him, and then I guess they followed him for 35 minutes around the arena until he came out. It should have been instantly, but like 35 minutes later, out comes Hangman getting beat up by the Death Riders. But I liked it. I like the beatdown. I like the selling. I like the fact that the ops had to come out and save them. I just said for the story to work, right? For Will Ospreay to have to be like, we have to come together to overthrow the Death Riders. The Death Riders have to do what people are complaining about, and they have to beat people up. It just is what it is. They have to do it every week, because if they're not doing it every week and they're not taking people over, then why do we need people to help if Hangman can do it on his own? So he got his ass whooped, got beat up, got saved. They ran away. I liked it all. I think it was wrestling 101 done perfectly. You know what I mean? Beat them up. When the good guys come, run away. That's what they do. You did your purpose, right? And you built that animosity between them. That Swerve needs help. Although I don't know why the ops are out there, because if they have the ops, do they really need two other people? I don't know. But nonetheless, I digress. Yeah.
No, I like that too. They really did a number to Hangman Page. They did their thing, and it made me interested. And I said last week that Hangman felt like the third man in this group. It was the Will Ospreay show. It's going to be Hangman beats the title, wins the title because of Will Ospreay. Hangman gets Swerve, or Will Ospreay is the one that brings Swerve and Hangman together. And so it kind of felt like he was the third character in this story when he should have been the main character. Now I feel like he's back to being the main character, and I think this week really did him justice. And the Death Riders look strong as hell too. Like that was probably one of Moxley's best promos that he's cut, and everything he said was spot on about they need to. Hangman Page is so worried about what everyone else is doing. He needs to stay focused. He needs to focus on him. We want a focused Hangman at at All In. We want the best version of him. I thought it was a really, really good promo.
It sucks because I don't want to take away from anybody else, but dude, Mox is just, I don't know if it's because he was in WWE for so long, if he's just been around the turnpike and led AEW as a champion, but he is just like excuse me, levels above everybody. Like when he talks, his
And he
presence,
wasn't
his
always.
delivery,
Yeah.
no, he's figured it out, and it's helped too that he got in shape. Like he was never like fat or anything, but he was just always like a regular guy, right? He just had a normal body type. He had a few muscles, skinny but kind of chubby here. Now he's like a jacked steroid freak, so he looks the part. He delivers it better. He just appearance is everything, man. Look at Jimmy Uso. I mean, when did Jay get popular and become a champion? When he got fit. And I don't want to. I know Cora Jade out here talking about body shaming, and yeah, but I mean that's your business, right? Like. I would love to be a pro wrestler, but when I went in there and took off my shirt, I'm a decent looking guy, but they would be like, bro, like get some freaking muscle. And I'm like not out of shape. I'm not fat by it, but I'm not like a wrestler, but like, you know what I mean? You gotta be, have you been next to a wrestler? It's like UFC fighters. You see him on TV and you're like, that's a scrawny guy. And you're next to him. You're like, no, this guy's gigantic. His head is huge. Like he's a big, like you don't think Chad Gable's big? Chad Gable is humongous. He just looks tiny next to Randy Orton. You know what I mean? Who's 6'4", 380, pure muscle. You know what I mean? These guys are big. So, you know what I mean? It just like Moxley just looks the party in his promo. He just looks like he's like too far. He needs to lose the belt because sometimes he makes everyone else look bad and he's not trying. And that includes like a Hangman Page, who I love, who I think's levels above everybody else too. But Mox is just so good right now. He just does it so effortlessly.
And that's how that promo felt. It just felt effortless.
That's what
And he was just, he was natural. Even like the crowd was chanting for him to shut the fuck up. And he just took it in stride. He just was like, just sat there and waited for them to stop. And then he turned around and focused back on Hangman again. It was, everything he's doing, instead of reacting to them like MJF does or every MVP does, he just let them do their thing. And I think he delivered it well.
You know, AEW fans, right? They are the loudest wrestling fans in the world, right? They chant everything. They chant when they're not supposed to. They chant when they are supposed to. But they chant properly. Do you ever hear them say what?
No.
Like ever? You know, do you ever see them try to like ruin people? But they don't even try to ruin people's promos. Like, take lessons, WWE fans. You can be loud and crazy without trying to take over the show. I'm just saying, it's like so frustrating, these WWE crowds.
No,
all right, let's get into it. We had the big signing between Omega and Okada. They are going to combine their two belts to create a brand new belt. Drum roll, please. The Unified Championship. I'm hoping that's not the name, but I think it that's is. What the name is. Oh man, I feel like Tony Khan's like, dude, I need some like championship names. We're on TBS, so okay, that's one. We're on TNT, that's two. What else? We're unifying these belts, so how about the Unified Like, dude, come on, you can create some dang names. Why couldn't it have been? You couldn't combine the Continental International into the Intercontinental Championship. You could have created something like the Unified Championship. Belt was beautiful though. Beautiful looking belt. AEW always has. They got like old boxing belts. They're nice. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this makes me nervous. This makes me very, very nervous. Because if the reports are true, and it's all dirt sheet fodder and rumors and speculation, but they created this unified title and they're going to treat it like a second world championship. And so I'm wondering, like, are they going to do a brand split and one's going to be champion of Dynamite, the other's going to be champion of Collision? I could see them doing something like that. I hope, if that's the case, and I hope that's what they do.
That. Yeah.
But either way, it does make me nervous. Or it means that Jon Moxley's retaining at All In, and we're not going to see the AEW World Title for a long time. And this is the consolation prize, similar to how Roman Reigns kept the WWE Championship. And so they created the World Heavyweight Title so everyone else could have something to compete for. Yeah. So this does make me nervous that Moxley might actually retain at All In and hold on to it for another couple of months until Darby Allin comes back. And in the meantime, the fans can get their world title fix with this unified championship. But again, that's all speculation and just rumors. But I like the look of the title. This gives it a big match feel. I like the video package they did for Okada and Kenny Omega. They need to do more of that. They need to do more stuff like that when guys like these are fighting, because you don't realize the importance, because I don't watch New Japan and I don't watch some of that other stuff just because it's on at a crazy time, and it's on at like 3:00 in the morning my time, and I just don't have that commitment. So I didn't realize but you learn how impactful these guys are to the sport of pro wrestling, and you realize how impactful they are to their respective companies and how long they've been doing this. So yeah, I love that video package and I like the promo. We'll get into the Don Callis thing. I really don't like that he's involved in this. I don't like that at all. Why does he have to be involved in everything? Like, I liked it at first when he came in and he was like, why isn't it Takeshita? Why isn't it Kyle Fletcher when he was talking to Okada? But then Okada joins him, but I thought Okada was with the Elite. I thought he was with the Bucks. I don't know what's going on. It just feels like he goes from faction to faction, and it feels like Don Callis is just recruiting everybody under the sun right now. So I don't really care for that, but I'm excited about this match and I like the belt.
Not good news when you go to Don Callis family, you end up becoming irrelevant. It must be in his contract. I mean, Don Callis was a year ago, he was like as big as a hill as Dirty Dom, but for the past year, he has done nothing but whisk crickets always. People are sick of him. Even AEW fans are sick of him. Why? I don't know why you paired Okada with him. Okada could have done that heel turn, beat Omega up on the stretcher with the belt, everything, without joining Don. Don Callis had no reason to be. There's no point unless you're just trying to build the history of I'm Callis and I own Kenny Omega, so I'm going to help Okada win. But we don't need that. Okada is so damn talented and so damn good on his own. We don't need it. But I hope they do split. We have too many wrestlers on AEW. WWE for getting so much shit and flack for the way they book their wrestlers and how they disappear and where's Karrion Kross and bro, I can write a novel on where is who and who and who in AEW, okay? And don't let Wardlow was injured fool you. He wasn't injured for the other 2 years of the 3 he hasn't been on TV. Where the hell's Orange Cassidy? The only
he's hurt. He is really hurt. Yeah.
What about Jack Perry? Where's Jack Perry? Is he still hurt?
I have no idea.
Where are all these hurt people? I mean, I get Darby, and that's about it. Everybody else, where are they? You know what I mean? Cope ain't hurt anymore. Where he at? There's a lot of people on the Christians.
He's staring at a wall, is what.
There you go.
FTR said. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That was good. But more room for the casters. So Anthony Bowens is going to take an L every week. Like we have so many. Like doing a brand split, 2 champions would be brilliant. Brilliant stuff, I think. So yeah. But great Dynamite, and it was I liked everything about it other than Don Callis. I like the belt. I like the hype video. I like the beatdown. Just we need Don. Like why ruin a good night?
And I know everyone was kind of making fun of the blood spot with Kenny Omega, and I liked it. I didn't. Yeah,
it was over the top, but that's AEW.
It's AEW. It was like a B level horror movie or a C level action flick where it's like, okay, this is a low budget death scene in a movie.
Yeah, it was like that clown movie. Yeah.
But I didn't mind it so much, and it told the story, and it was over the top, but it wasn't grotesque.
Yeah, no, true that. All right, let's get into Collision. Collision faded right in. Well, that's when we finished the beatdown. The beatdown, just so you know, didn't happen on Dynamite. It happened on Collision. Yeah. But nonetheless,
started on Dynamite.
Yeah, started on Dynamite. Yeah. Anthony Bowens, man, loses again. I get that he's losing to like the people that should beat him, but what is this doing for him, Brian? Because I remember when the Usos split up, right? And people were so mad that Jimmy and Jay weren't getting pushed, blah, blah, blah. They weren't getting help, bloop, blah, bloop. Jimmy's being forgotten, blop, dee, bloop. And the whole AEW world was upset. The Acclaimed are the greatest tag team in AEW history. I don't even think that's disputable. They are the most winningest, they had the tag team champ. They are the biggest and best. They were the most over people, period, for like almost a year at AEW. And you're going to tell me that since they split up, we're having Max Caster have a I lose in 10-second challenge every week, and Anthony Bowens, who is having hella matches, is just losing and losing and losing. And I want to bring up something too. and I did this comparison already, so you know what I'm going to talk about. But Triple H has gotten a lot of flack for his booking of one Carmelo Hayes. And Carmelo Hayes, same kind of story, right? The most over guy probably in NXT in the past few years, comes over with a lot of hype as a singles champion on the big show, and he's getting airtime. He's cutting promos, but he's losing to people who are better than him over and over and over again. So what happens? Triple H is a racist, which we don't want to dive into. That's what people say. Triple H is the worst booker ever because he has no idea how to book Carmelo Hayes. These are all coming from the AEW people. So now we have Anthony Bowens, who is in the greatest tag team ever, finally gets a single run. And what does he do? He comes up to the big stage as a single run, and he loses, and he loses, and he loses to people better than him, but he's cutting good promos. So you tell me the difference on why we don't have the same energy. Is Tony Khan a racist? Is Tony Khan a bad booker? Is Tony Khan where is it's like crickets. It doesn't and that's not even counting Max Caster, homie. We're crying over Carmelo Hayes, and Max Caster and Anthony Bowens are getting here. And I'm making the references because race has been brought into it, and these are all young, talented black men who could probably be booked to the moon, who just aren't right now. And I don't think any of them per se are being booked awfully, because they are getting airtime, but they are losing all the time. So I just wanted to bring that out to kind of bring those,
And I know the fans brought race into it, but Anthony Bowens has brought his sexuality into it with his pride of pro wrestling, and it's Pride Month, and he's going out.
Give this guy some wins in June.
He's going out and losing everything that he's in. I think he's lost both back-to-back matches. It's just very, very strange. And yeah, you're right. There is crickets. There's no Tony Khan is a bigot. Tony Khan's a racist. Tony Khan's this. Tony Khan's that. It's just, silence. And I don't get it. There's certainly a double standard. I always call out the double standard when it's WWE to AEW, but we got to call it out with AEW to WWE as well.
And it's the fans. It has nothing to do with Triple H or TK.
Oh, no.
Or the wrestler.
No,
it's the fans.
not at all.
By the way, imagine if an openly gay wrestler in WWE was losing every month, every week, every time he wrestled in the month of June. Imagine what people would say Triple H and TKO are.
They said it.
Is doing it.
They said it about Triple H in WWE because all of their LGBTQ representation has been released, or the ones that are open and out about it. But they're all gone. They've all been released. Like Sonya Deville, the other girl that was there.
It's only females usually, right? There's no openly gay men in the WWE, right?
No. Yeah, it's just females, but they're all gone. And so, Triple H, it's the MAGA movement coming to WWE, and they're inserting their politics, and they're getting rid of all the hate, and they're showing their hate in their true colors, and it's just they said it, but they don't say anything when Anthony Bowens loses matches on Dynamite.
Yeah. It's just
Collision,
insane.
right?
I wanted to bring it out there. And only bring it out there because I think the hate is stupid. I don't think either company should get hate is what I'm saying. I just think it's ridiculous.
Of course.
Of these doubles. And don't try to say Anthony Bowens and Carmelo Hayes are on two different levels, because Anthony Bowens has been around in his organization a lot longer than Carmelo. So he should be getting a bigger push right now, having his first solo run.
And Anthony Bowens is damn good. And he's got a good gimmick.
Hell yeah, he is.
Yeah. The 5-tool player and the Pride of Pro, he's got a great gimmick. He's great on the microphone. He's better in the ring, I think, than Max Caster. I think Max Caster might be better on the mic, but he's better in the ring. This is a guy that could be a future world champion in AEW if they push him correctly, and I don't think they're not doing him any favors right now. Neither one of them are being done any favors.
Heck no, Max Caster could be an easily TNT champion right now. He fits the bill perfectly. He's like that guy. He would fit it perfectly. Perfect. All right, let's get into somebody who probably should be wrestling either one of these men, because when she touches you, you start to get better, and that is one Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné. Toni Storm wrestled a match. Who cares? After the match, Toni and Mercedes went face to face, when Mercedes once again wasted a perfectly good $75 steak that I'm sure you were mad about. I also like how Mercedes Moné weighs all of 110 pounds, and she comes out to eat a meal made for 7 dudes our size. It was like a Thanksgiving.
It was like potato salad out there. Asparagus. Yeah, good for her for eating her vegetables, but
come on, homie. Her little petite ass. I do like also that she has alcohol. She's out there drinking some red wine. Like, girl, you about to perform? Get at it. So stupid. But nonetheless, they went face to face and they had a sniffing contest. So I guess she wanted. I'm so weird because I'm like an attitude era boy. I'm not offended by shit. I talk all the time highly about women's looks, and I even say about men's looks. I just did. So I'm all that kind of guy. But for some reason, when I see Toni Storm and her things, I'm always like, man, is this going too far? Or like, are we good with this? Like, I can't have AEW on when my 10-year-old son's hanging out with me. I always feel like he's gonna be like, what's going on? And he was in the room. He was on his iPad while I was watching that episode, and Sasha's like, or Mercedes like sniffing her and sniffing her other side, and my son like looked up, and I was like, nothing happened here, dude. I don't want you. I mean, I'll see what side he's on, but like, nonetheless, good stuff though. I liked it. I like where we're going, and this is what I was getting at, is that this is the first time Mercedes Moné has felt watchable in her entire time in AEW. Toni Storm is that person. Kind of makes me worried about little Blake Monroe a little bit, because is she really that good, or was Tony helping her? I'm assuming she really is that good. But dude, Mercedes has been pretty much irrelevant since she came to AEW. Now all of a sudden I'm into her. Is it just me, or is it other people not into her? But I'm like vibing her now. I'm like, okay, this is like Mercedes. This is it's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, no, and I think hopefully they continue this even after this match occurs and goes on. That's the thing I'm worried about is it's a temporary fix, and then she either wins the match or loses the match, and
she's winning. Yeah.
Then she goes back to being completely irrelevant and going back to the normal Mercedes Moné. But I really hope that this flips a switch, and that Toni Storm's able to bring out the best in her. Because so far, you're right. Like, this is the most I've been invested. The last couple of weeks are the most I've been invested in Mercedes since she's been in AEW. And I think it says a lot that a lot of it has to do with Toni Storm. And I really hope that her and Mercedes can make that magic that they had with Mariah May again. That was good stuff.
I do digress, though. Mercedes was also fun to watch when she was a puppet with Harley Cameron. So obviously people are making her right now, which maybe does give me more hope for Blake Monroe, that maybe it's Mercedes she needs to get carried nowadays. You know what I mean? All she does is dance and hold belts. That's what happens, man. When your gimmick is about being a champion, you lose everything else. You need to have a personality, a persona. That's what happened to Charlotte Flair. That's what happened to John Cena, man. That's why his heel run is, when you're just always a champion, that's all you're worried about. It's hard to build a character. Well, let's get into it. We had a little segment end. I'll let you start off, but I'll break it down. We had Hangman and the Young Bucks have a face-to-face in front of Will Ospreay's medical locker room, and we had another. I don't know if we were watching the Looney Tunes beforehand of this episode, but this time it was Prince. Why am I forgetting Prince's name? Prince Nana. What I was going to say, Prince IK. Prince Nana peeked through the door and was like listening to, and then Hangman kind of started looking, and he was like, whoop, uh-oh, he was supposed to see me, and then he came out again whoa, 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 whoa. It was very I don't know if this is supposed to be funny, but nonetheless, Hangman Page was talking very highly of Will and Swerve, and was worried, and basically said, you touch them, I'm gonna burn your house down, huff and puff and blow your house down. And then they cut inside, and then Swerve came over. Well, Will was on the hospital bed with no doctors. And then Swerve walked. I don't know what Swerve was doing, but he walked in the shot, and he was like, I heard it all. Yeah. And it felt like it was a bad thing. So run me through this. What did you think of this segment? I loved it, but I was also I was like a roller coaster. And the Young Bucks, who I forgot to say, that were like, our plan's working. And Hangman Page was like, what plan? And he was like, the plan. And he was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I love these guys. I'm going to burn your house down. And then it ended. So I was like, wait, huh? What?
Yeah. So I think it goes back to that promo from last week where Swerve and Ospreay were in the ring together, and or maybe it was Hangman. It was maybe after his win over Double or Nothing. But Swerve, when he came out to confront Hangman, he played the clip of the Young Bucks attacking him at Dynasty, and he's like, "You had something to do with this. This was your fault. You did this," and Hangman Page was like, no, I didn't. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't know they were coming. And I think this segment proved that Hangman Page was telling the truth, because he he told them, like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you guys are talking about. This is the first time I've ever heard about this plan. Don't mess with Swerve. Don't mess with Ospreay. Leave me alone. I'm going to burn your house down too, or I'm going to leave you guys in the house next time I burn one down.
Yeah. Leave you
so
guys in.
I think when Swerve said that he heard it all, I think he was a good thing, because I think he meant it like it's a step in the right direction to repairing the relationship. Hangman Page told the Young Bucks to leave Swerve alone, and B, Swerve learned that Hangman Page was telling the truth, and so that he had nothing to do with it, because he would have, that's why he was like, what plan? What are you talking about? Because he was not in on what happened at Dynasty when the Young Bucks attacked Swerve, which is what Swerve was accusing.
But then why would they bring it up? Why would they even say it? Are they trying to Jedi mind trick him? Like,
I think so.
They didn't think anyone was listening, so why would you make up something unless you're crazy? Like, why would you even say it if it wasn't true whatsoever? That's my thing. So that makes you think that that's what Nana heard, because Nana was looking out during that part. When Hangman looked, he closed the door. He didn't come out during all the parts with, but Swerve never came out, so he was. I just think Swerve and Nana delivered it like it was like a. I heard what he said. Plan. It was planned. That's what it didn't seem like. I heard what he said.
I get what you're saying.
That's they didn't deliver it like it was like that's our Hangman. It was more like, oh, I heard it all. Like it was it didn't come out like it was a good thing. But maybe I'm reading it wrong.
See, I picked up on I thought it came across as that, or at least that's how I interpreted it, that it was a good thing. Yeah. Like it's a positive step that, okay, maybe we can trust Hangman Page.
Yeah.
But you're also right. Like the way they delivered it made it seem like maybe they didn't hear that part and they just heard the plan, and this is part of the plan, and then the Young Bucks, like, oh, he made his bed, now he has to lie in it. Like what are they gonna do? What's going on? Are they gonna take his title shot away? Because I don't understand.
No, but okay. And with that said, this was a very great episode of Dynamite and of Collision. I was entertained. I liked it. They built up this. I didn't like the main event, and I don't like that next week on the Mexico edition we have like a 10-man tag and a 12-man tag. Or are we just is it just two matches all night? Are we putting every wrestler in two matches?
We just saw just saw the 10-man tag at Anarchy in the Arena. Why are we getting it again?
Did they announce two more? Did they announce a 12 and a 10?
Yeah,
isn't there like Death Riders with the Bucks versus
against the Ops
and Ospreay and Strickland? Yeah. But then
there's a 12-man tag. Then there's like Tony Khan announced tonight. There's a 4 peso triple or 4-way match or something. It's one of those. It's one of those $400,000. It really is. It's
it cannot be 4 pesos. That's like 10 cents.
Yeah, it's a 4 million pesos high flying 4-way. Excuse me.
4 million pesos.
AEW Grand Slam, and it's who's in the match? Mascara, Dorad, King Ricochet, Hologram, and Leo Rush. So
okay.
Yeah, yippee.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't understand but the one thing I wanted to say, because I thought it was a good episode, but I did have to say, Will Ospreay, why was he sleeping? Was he knocked out? Like, the Young Bucks have put tacks to their shoes in the middle of matches and kicked people. Will Ospreay took one tack boot kick to the face, and he's literally sleeping for 3 hours of the show. Like, he's out. Like, was he not laying there unconscious? I was so confused by that. Not to make fun of it because he's selling for once, but I just thought it was a little he wasn't just up there oh gosh, what a night, or having something held to his head. He was was he not laying down like he was knocked out?
Yeah, he also wrestled a 35-minute match too, where he took a pretty strong beating. But I agree, that was people do that all the time, and they're walking Swerve. Swerve wrestled a 35-minute match against Ospreay, and he's back there walking around do.
Always. Yeah, Swerve was fine because he didn't take tacks to the face. Well, that's always when when a wrestler becomes like a special referee and he gets hit off the ropes and he falls and he's out forever because now since he's a referee, he like can't take pain like he can normally. He's like, I'm out for 4 to 5, 6, 7 minutes. I think it must be great to be a pro wrestler when you have those big matches. Did you see Logan Paul? He was like during the tag team match or whatever, he was like knocked out. So he was like off to the table and he was like signing people's like Prime bottles and handing it to them because he wasn't on camera and he's supposed to just lay there. Logan Paul was like, I'm not even going to pretend I'm knocked out. I'm going to sit here and just interact with the crowd. Camera's not on me. Like you just have to lay there. Don't you think you would get like tired or worn out? Like, having like, all right, I got to lay here for like 4 minutes and not move. I feel like I would be like, the adrenaline rush would be gone. I don't know. I think it's weird. But nonetheless, I'm going off topic. That was our Dynamite and Collision episode. It was a good episode, building good stories. And with that said, we're going to get into our segment. If you watch our WWE edition, we did this segment, highs and lows. We're going to hit that music. We're going to do it again. Keep it legit this week.
Here we go.
Highs and lows, let's go. This is highs and lows. It's time for the list. Who's killing it and who should probably go and sit? You're the best, getting listed up high as hell. It's for the lows, they can come up here and take a L. Yes, they got their fingers on the button, yeah. Never sweat the mid, just the best and who run it. I'ma let them chill, let them run through the list of names. This is highs and lows, go ahead and do your thing.
All right, highs and lows. We're going to give each other a couple highs and a couple lows of this week of AEW. Ryan, what's your first high of the week?
My first high is MJF and the Hurt Syndicate. I continue to be. We didn't really talk about them very much, but I continue to be wowed and enamored by them with this dynamic. I don't know how I really feel about MJF bringing back the American gimmick, the real American gimmick for the Mexico show to get that heel heat. But if you listened on commentary, MVP seemed pretty fed up with MJF. He was like, "Oh, apparently MJF wants to have a party tonight, and I didn't know we were having this party." So maybe it's going to start getting some dissension in the Hurt Syndicate, and we kind of get to the next chapter of this story. But this is the best that MJF has been in AEW in a long, long time. I think he really needed this to really help rejuvenate him. And to be fair, I mean, MVP continues cutting great promos. They feed off of each other really great. And then I like the presence of Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, even though they don't really say anything. They're just natural born ass kickers, and they just look great doing it. So this whole angle, I'm ready. I can't wait to see where they go next with it. I think it's been a great thing for MJF in AEW.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why you already want them to break up. They just got together 2 seconds ago. But I'm surprised you didn't give props to MVP or MJF's outfit, homage to MVP wearing his little full suit thing. It was pretty cool. But I gotta say, you're digging this, although they haven't really built anything or wrestled anyone or started a feud with anyone of relevance, but you're not digging Seth Rollins' crew right now for the same reason.
True.
You know what? We'll do the double-edged sword right now. We'll do, but I like both, so I'm not even going to go there with you. But I agree. I think they're killing it right now, and they're a lot of fun. I know some people are shitting on it, but I think it's good television, so I'm all for it.
Yeah, they're telling a story. That's the thing. That's what AEW has been notoriously bad at, and I think they're doing it, and it's fantastic.
And I'm glad you say that, because my first high is building stories. That's what they are doing. MJF, even with the Mystical thing, they built it last week. They've been building it up. They've been building a story with them, with how they're together, the story between Ospreay trying to hype up Hangman, and they had their match, and hype up Swerve to join with Hangman to fight the Death Riders. The Death Riders taking out Hangman. They're just building story after story. Then they added in the Young Bucks from, like you said before, when they helped them win, and they're bringing that back. So now they're even bringing old stories into full. It's just story after story. And guess what? AEW fans, you all say you don't want story. You all say you hate it, but now you're saying this is the best AEW has been. They're cooking. They're better than WWE. Why do you think? Because they're booking shows like WWE. Sure, they have 35-minute matches, what they shouldn't have, but they're building stories, and that's the key. They're even unifying belts, and they showed stories, the history of Okada and Kenny Omega together and separate. It was just great, great stuff. They're building stories, and I'm loving it. So that's a big prop this week for AEW.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. They've shed that narrative in a big way that they don't tell stories, and they're Every pay-per-view this year, from Revolution to Dynasty to Double or Nothing, and now to All In, they've all been built very well, and they've all had stories, and they've all had reasons to care about the matches. Even though we didn't really like the Cope and Mox match, the build for it was fantastic. It was great.
Oh, 100%. All right, what's your second high?
My other high, kind of going off of what you were saying, that I think just the AEW product in general in the year 2025 has been, really, really strong. And I think I like that they're not really, MJF mentioned Mystico, as formerly known as Sin Cara. I'm fine with that. I don't care. But I like that they're not really going after the WWE. They're not really addressing the WWE, counter programming them. They're not really, they're just staying in their lane. They're doing their own thing, and they're putting on good matches. They're putting on great stories. They're doing their thing. I could do without the rah-rah, this is where the best wrestle speeches all the time. But if you're not putting yourself over, no one's going to do it for you. So in a way, I kind of understand to a degree that it's just too much. But AEW so far has just been really fantastic in 2025, and they've done a good job of building stars. Kyle Fletcher has kind of come out of the woodwork. Megan Bain is looking like $1 million. Powerhouse Hobbs is the best that he's ever looked. They've rejuvenated and rebuilt a lot of old stars. MJF is on a career resurgence right now. Adam Page. John Moxley is the best that he's ever been. Darby Allin is like the favorite to win the world title, and he's never really been world champion material before. So many more. Toni Storm's looking great. Mercedes Moné is looking the best that she's been. FTR is killing it at the moment. So
yeah, they are.
There's a lot to be proud of and a lot to be excited about, and only a few of these people are ex-WWE stars that they're really, really focusing on. So I think they're doing a great job of trying to find hidden gems that are maybe not AEW originals, but they're not they're new, fresh stars. You can include Nick Wayne in that as
Hell
well.
yeah.
But they're really using this time to focus on what made AEW special in the first place. And I think they're not quite there yet, but they're getting back to the 2019, 2020, 2021 vibes of AEW, and they just need to keep it up.
Yeah, I'm loving the Nick Wayne. Woo! That's my boy right there, Nick Wayne. I can't wait for Jack Perry to come back. I can't wait to see Nick Wayne turn on a babyface Christian. I'm telling you, and Cope's gonna come and make the save. I'm telling you, they're gonna go up against FTR. We're gonna have some shit happening pretty soon. Yeah. All right, my other high of the week is unifying the title. I love having less titles. I thought the International and they were just too pointless. I forget that they even had them. I don't think Omega, how many times did he defend it? When's the last time Okada really defended it other than in whatever contender matches or whatever they call them? And they're too good not to be. I like your idea that you're hearing right now that they're going to make it a world championship. I think it should be the Collision Championship. That would be fantastic. Have one on Dynamite, one on Collision, even though that would probably upset Mox because I think he wants to be on TV 24/7. But I love it. I love it. I love it. And like I said, I think it makes room for the women's tag team championship. You took away a belt. Let's add one. We need it. You brought up some females. You brought up Megan Bain. Yes, she got that push. What has she done for me lately? They gave her this huge thing. She lost, which we said, if you lose to Toni Storm, it's going to hurt her. It did. Now she's relegated to random tag team matches, barely struggling to beat people, and doesn't look like a full force. This is why adding that tag team division, you have such a stacked women's division. You can give them stuff to do, make them feel important. If she was going for the tag team titles, she'd feel a lot more important. Liv Morgan right now feels important because she's walking around with the women's tag team title. She could boast, she could show it off. It's building her character, keeping her high up in the anarchy. I think the same thing can happen with a women's tag team division now. So my other high is unifying the title. It makes for a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. And it gives the women something else to compete for too. Because right now you really can't go after the TBS title because Mercedes has it. Toni Storm has the world title. They're fighting each other. So the women need something else to do. And I think introducing tag team titles at All In or doing some sort of tournament with the conclusion at All In, I think, AEW loves their tournaments. So let's make something like that happen and crown the champions at All In. I think it would be a good way to add some life to the women's division.
Got a stacked roster of like 25 women, and now you have two of them holding up there's no title for them to go for. There's like nothing. It's crazy. All right, time for the lows. What you got?
Oh, my first low is, speaking of the tag division, but it's the men's tag division and the trios division. Just that whole group in general. Like, for a while there, I forgot that the Ops had the trios titles, and then before that, I was like, well, how do they get the trios titles? Oh, right, they beat the Death. I completely forgot they beat the Death Rights. Yeah, they pinned Moxley, but that feels like forever ago now, and but also, like, they never really defend their trios titles. When they do, it's against like random people that I've never heard of before, and I just feel like the division is so weak. And I know I just sang the praises of the Hurt Syndicate, but like, who's really like stepped up to face them? I mean, Private Party's not there. I don't really take Top Flight seriously as a tag team. The only real tag team out there is FTR, and they're also heels, and technically the Hurt Syndicate are heels, so they're not really going to fight each other unless Cope and Christian Cage come back. But even then, that, you know, we don't know when that's going to happen, and they're going to set their sights on FTR. They're not going to set their sights on the Hurt Syndicate. So I just feel like the tag division right now is in desperate need of some sort of resurgence or some sort of focus. Tony Khan's putting a lot of focus on the women's tag division, but I think he needs to really focus on the trios division and the tag division on the men's side, because that's where AEW is really lacking right now.
Yeah, well said. I fully agree on both of them. I forgot that they don't even bring the belts out with them. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And they were irrelevant with the Death Riders. They barely even defended them. Those poor trio titles. I knew they were created for no reason when they first got created. We were on the show and I said that. Well, I think we both did, and now it's being proven. My first L of the week has to go to the 4-hour shows. I don't even know why they are 4 hours. The finals aren't even on TBS and TNT. Is it because of hockey?
Why are hockey.
They? Yeah. Is that why? So you're because of hockey,
and they're trying to find a new night for Collision, and they're trying
Saturday's
to test.
Awful.
Yeah, they're trying to test the market, because they were doing a Thursday Collision for a little while, and now they're doing a Wednesday, and they're not going to keep it on Wednesday, but they're trying to like test the ratings, I guess, to see like what works, what doesn't work during the week.
Well, these ratings aren't working because they're going down. So if they're worried about that, it's not working. 4 hours is too long, man. I'm sorry. I know these AEW people have been clamoring over it and they dig it, but they really don't, man. 4 hours is too much TV. I'd rather have them just throw it on a random Thursday or a Tuesday just to see if it works. I think more people would have tuned in because they would have gotten more ratings at the fact that more people would have been putting eyeballs on it. But it's just too long for me. No matter how good it is, even if it was jam-packed, and I thought this was a really good episode of Dynamite and Collision, I couldn't watch. I had to keep pausing and coming back to it. I could not have watched this live on one sitting. I don't have the time for that, dude. So
no.
yeah. We got to stop with this.
Especially with the overruns and everything. Like, it's just like that's 8:00 Eastern time PM to midnight Eastern time, plus a 30-minute overrun. So that's 12:30 that you're asking your fans to commit to on the middle of the work week. So yeah, these 4, I'm glad they're not doing them anymore. Hopefully they're not doing them anytime soon. But it's a good way to be the alternative. But all right, we've done it. Now let's move on.
Back-to-back weeks too. So yeah, that's an L for me. All right, what's your last L of the week?
Oh man, I'm gonna go to the Don Callis family. These guys, they're just back-to-back weeks main eventing Collision. I mean, you talk about the ratings taking a nosedive. I mean, you stacked Dynamite to be this great thing, and then the last like 35 minutes or so of Collision felt like a normal Saturday episode of Collision, and because you had the Don Callis family involved in everything. And I don't understand why he's involved with the Okada thing. I don't understand why he keeps adding people to the group. I don't understand. I don't know who's in the Don Callis family right now because there's just so many freaking people. It's just not working for me. You know, he's in way too many segments. He's way too involved. There's some episodes of Collision, he'll come out like 3 or 4 times. He'll like come back and go do commentary. Then he'll go and attack somebody, and then he'll come out and cut a promo. Then he'll go back to the commentary table for another match. And it's too much. Like, I think he's supposed to be the Paul Heyman of AEW, but we don't get Paul Heyman that much in WWE. So we make us appreciate his greatness. And I know he can be great, but right now it's just way too much, and I don't think they know what to do with them.
Yeah, no, well said. I agree. Way too, and he's on commentary. He's just like, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I don't know if he owes Tony Khan or Tony Khan owes him something, but it's too much. All right. My last one is kind of the same ballpark, and it's about the 4 hour thing, but the not just the overruns and so on, but the main events. Why does Tony Khan maybe I'm just old school, people are gonna say I'm a WWE like slave to the company, but my days, it's you open up hot and you end hot, just like you do in pay-per-views. I feel like Tony Khan and these dynamites, and why do we open up with our most important match and end with a dud? Why did we end you want people to sit through 4 hours by giving them Callis versus uh
Paragon.
Paragon. Like what are we doing here? I was so uninterested in that match, and I even broke this apart. I was like, I'm over with it. But we do this all the time. We have these big matches, and then we have like two random females wrestling who aren't even for the title, or two random dudes, or Jericho versus this. We just have like what happened to Jericho, by the way? But we have random just people just like wrestling at the end of these. Like, this is your number one show. Imagine like we closed the show with I don't know, Penta versus, I don't know, Ludwig Kaiser or something. Like, yeah, that's a hot match, but you don't close your Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. This is your prime show of Dynamite. It's a 4 hour show. If you wanted to open with Strickland, and so then close with like the Death Riders in a match, or close with somebody of like
Close with the Kenny Omega thing. Yeah.
That close with you don't have to close with the match, close with that thing where he got beat. Yeah, why was this contract signing at the end of Collision? And that's the problem with doing back-to-back, because you have your bottom show going last, but it's all one show. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, but Tony does that even when it's just a regular Dynamite. You got to learn like not just how to time your shows to fit, but you end on a high. That's the last thing we remember, right? And I get that the fans like these, like that'd be like the WCW days, opening up with Hogan versus Sting and ending with Rey Mysterio versus Dean Malenko. Like, yeah, you're going to remember like the fun, cool match, but that's not what people are paying to see. And that's literally a perfect example of what Tony Khan's doing right now. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, well said. I completely agree. And back-to-back weeks. So that's the thing. Like, you did the same main event 2 weeks in a row, and I don't understand why. I don't get it. For
literally
a 4 hour show, the same main event, back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, insane. All right, that was our segment, highs and lows, and now we're going to end it with our every week segment, our LVD and MVD. That's our least valuable, most valuable dude or dudettes of the week, where we give our, it doesn't mean we hate them or love them. It just means they were the worst or best booked of the week. Ryan, who is your LVD for this week of AEW?
I'm going with the Paragon, man. The trio that we all forget are even a thing. Like, just you talk about how the mighty have fallen. These guys used to own NXT. These guys were the faces of NXT when they were Undisputed Era. They had all the titles in NXT. They had the cool factor in NXT. They made NXT Black and Gold worth watching. And then they come to AEW, and I know Adam Cole's been hurt, and I get it, but they just don't. I don't know what it is. Like, they're just not the same. I don't know if they're phoning it in, or maybe WWE made them better. I don't know, but it just feels like they don't have the chemistry that they once had anymore. They don't really, I don't know. They just don't jive anymore. And like, the matches are fine. I don't have a problem with their matches, but they're just not interesting to me. And back-to-back weeks, like we just talked about, of them main eventing, no wonder the ratings are going to tank and go down a little bit. It's just because these guys just, I don't know what they just don't have it anymore. They just don't have the chemistry anymore. So I'm just not very interested in Paragon.
Yeah, well said. I fully agree. And what a waste too, because I still think Adam Cole's a top 10 wrestler.
Oh, I do too.
On any brand. So it's bizarro to me. And he's a champion. You're doing nothing with him. Speaking of the same, I got to go with my LVD of the week, and that's one Julia Hart. And I know she lost to Tony's. I get it. That's a big name. But this is what I'm talking about with the women's division, like floundering right now, because she was the TBS. She was, I think, a better TBS champion than Mercedes, a better one than Jade Carr. She was a phenomenal TBS champion. She was working her craft. She was becoming amazing. And then she lost her belt, got hurt, came back, Black leaves, and now she's just like nothing. She still has her gimmick. Why is she still doing the House of Black gimmick when she's not even really that character? She's taken L after L. what Julia Hart's way too talented to do this. I don't care who she's losing to. And she was just kind of like a second fiddle in her match. I don't know. Not a big fan of it. And I think we need to regroup her and rebook her. Like I said, with all these people glamoring about WWE poor booking, AEW is no perfect angel in any of this. So she's a prime example.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the women's division right now is as great as it's been with the tag division and Mercedes and Toni Storm. The women's division is not thriving like I want it to. Only because they haven't built anybody. If Mercedes Moné wins the world title, the women's title at All In, who has AEW built to take any of the titles off of Mercedes? The only person that they had built was Mariah May, and she's not there anymore. But who have they built? Like, the only person they built to give her a credible match, and the only person they built to make you think that she has a chance in beating her is Toni Storm. So, like, this could be Julia Hart. This could be, you can make a case for maybe Willow Nightingale. You can make a case for Marina Shafir. But really, at the end of the day, there is nobody. And it could be Julia Hart to do it. It could be anybody. But they need to really fix that women's division for sure.
Well, not only that's the problem of having two unstoppable forces and now you have them against each other. So you're just basically have like taken away the entire women's division. We're going into who's your MVD of the week?
The Death Riders, hands down. Just Jon Moxley, Death Riders, Claudio, Wheeler. I think they looked badass again this week. They did everything. They were the badasses who cut the good promo. They were violent and vicious with their attack on Hangman Page, and they were about to choke him out with the chair before Moxley cut him off. And they were the heels that fled the scene when the ops got there. And I think they did everything perfectly. They executed everything to perfection. This is the most. I've really enjoyed this Death Rider story. I know a lot of people haven't. They're ready for it to end, but this is the best Moxley has been. This is the best that Claudio has been. This is just they've been a great group, and they've been great for AEW, and this week was no different.
Well said. I have the same person. Mine is Mox as well, man. He is just on another level. I already talked about it, but yeah, same thing. My MVD of the week. All right, that's AEW. For all of us fans out there, we want to let you know that Ryan and I will both be on vacation next week, so we will have no AEW episode. We'll tune in after that, so we'll still be ready for the road to All In, so don't you fear. Thank you for tuning in. As always, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, get those views going up. Tell your friends about us if you enjoy it. And as always, you can check just me out at my_wrestling_opinion on all social media. And with me, as always, the man with the plan.
Brian enjoys wrestling. Go follow me on all the social media platforms as well. Go follow us on YouTube at Two Dudes with Attitudes. Go follow us on X at Two Dudes PC. And then go follow us on TikTok at Two Dudes with Attitudes as well. And if you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, we appreciate all the love and support. Go drop us a 5-star rating and review. And go tell everyone about your favorite two dudes on the internet.
Two Dudes, Wolfpack. We out.
Two dudes with attitudes, let's go. Two dudes and our attitudes ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. A 5-star broadcast, shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E, the two dudes with the attitudes that bring the heat. Get the point.